Before we start the video, let's take a moment to check out today's awesome sponsor, Opera GX, the world's first gaming browser. You heard that right, a browser specifically designed for gaming. How is it tailor-made for gaming, you might ask? Well, there's a little feature in the browser called GX Control, and what it does is basically the polar opposite of Google Chrome. Everybody knows that Google Chrome takes up a huge chunk of memory and makes your games lag, and Opera GX does not do that. Actually, it makes your games run just fine, even with a ton of tabs open. It does this with a panel that allows you to set how much processing and memory usage you want Opera GX to use. There's also the addition of a network limiter that basically does the same thing but for your internet. So now you can have like 50 tabs open and not worry about frame drops or lag. It's not just that though, the browser has so much more to offer than just being basically the only browser that's not going to take any performance away from games. The GX Corner allows you to stay up to date with all the free games you can grab, the best deals for your wallet, the hottest new games on the block, and all around gaming news in one easily accessible place. There's full Twitch and Discord integration directly from the sidebar to see things like when your favorite god tier streamer LS goes live, and you can get message notifications from not just Discord, you can get it from Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp. You also have full ability to change up the look of the browser like your Pablo Picasso making his new masterpiece. There's a wide array of wallpapers and colors you can choose from, and if you're a Razer owner, the backlight of the browser can also work for Chroma. So one more time, thank you to Opera GX for sponsoring this video, and you can download the browser for free in the link in the description below. Now, onto the video.
So let's do this. Okay. Kha'Zix, Thresh, and Senna being banned away by G2 doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I think all three of those champions don't really need to be banned away by any means. And you can also just draft in a way where Thresh isn't super ideal. Kalista, Syndra, and Ezreal also don't make sense to me. Syndra can be drafted around, but I guess they respect the flex, and I guess they don't want to play against Kalista. Gangplank and Lee Sin. I mean, Lee Sin already hates Gangplank. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know why you would pick Lee Sin into Volibear. It's a winning matchup for Volibear too, so it's not even like it's a vacuum answer. It's just Selfmade wants to pick Lee Sin. Alright, Jhin ends up getting locked in as a response to Caitlyn. I think other answers that you would end up going for is something like Kog'Maw. The ban's now coming in. Zoe gets banned away. I guess they don't want to play against Zoe, Morgana, and Caitlyn. It offers a lot of terrain control. There's not a lot of reach right now, and also it's red side Lee Sin. So can anyone tell me how Lee Sin's going to make it in on any of these champions without him playing out of his goddamn mind and these players also donking off? Because I just can't see it. Bard is going to be banned away now. Bard is a really good answer. Basically, you look to take like Enchanter supports against Morgana as a means to beat her. I think banning away Tahm Kench is really stupid because this team comp is already very stuck. It's very slow. It doesn't do a whole lot. And if they would take Tahm Kench, it would be trolling out of their mind. They're hovering Pyke right now, but Pyke is really bad in a spot like this. They're also going super heavy on AD. Obviously, Pyke has like his execute and stuff, but this draft is just really, really weird out of Fnatic. They're sitting out of their mind. Gangplank obviously hates them. Maybe Set comes in for G2 as like a lane response to Gangplank. He also has like a target with the Lee Sin, and he has a target now with Pyke if Pyke ever tries to go on the offensive, but I guess you don't need to do that. The Camille is an interesting scaling component. LeBlanc comes in. And LeBlanc actually has a lot of freedom in this this draft. I think an answer here that ends up being good, but I think it's way too hard, would actually be like Vel'Koz. Quirky's fine. Vel'Koz can have a rough time, but I think if you're very, very proficient at it, then Vel'Koz is good. Another champion that they could end up picking here would be Ziggs, but even Ziggs could have a bit of an issue. I think that there's not a very good pick, and the reason that I say that there's not like a super good pick here is because you take a look at the Fnatic team composition, and they're all so prone and vulnerable to Camille and LeBlanc. There's not a very good way to protect any of these champions. What the fuck is Lee Sin's purpose here in this comp? Can anyone tell me, like, what kick target is there? What kick target? How does he gank for any of these lanes, by the way? How does Lee gank for Corki? How does he gank for Gangplank? What is the purpose of picking Lee Sin if you're just going to power farm and match gank? What a fucking idiot pick, man. Holy shit. Holy moly. No purpose, dude. No purpose. Okay, so lane phase is going to start out. Reckless immediately loses about 200 HP. The very start of the lane. We'll see what Bwipo does up in top lane. We'll see if he actually manages to get a cheater off. I know how Sungju or Onion feels about this match in particular. Okay, we have a pretty hard trade coming down. Hylissang goes very low on HP. And then, okay, they get a nice pull onto Perks, and they're trying to get the solo kill. They manage to get it. It's actually first blood on Pyke, who's the best champion to get the first blood, so this is really good for them. And Perks does not have teleport available. Okay, so really nice. Whippo is doing very good as well inside of the laning phase. Lee Sin doing the red to blue. And now, like, red to blue to Gromp into just path back top. Nope, his lane's ahead. You don't need to go for this. You don't need to do this. You're sinning out of your mind. You're sinning out of your mind. You're sinning out of your mind. Now, he would say that he's backing them up from Jankos, but, like, they don't need backup from Jankos. They end up getting a kill, I think. They get a, okay. So he wanted to flash forward for a 1-for-1, but let's talk about this. So let's ask the question, could the laners have played the waves in a way where they don't need this backup from Lee Sin because Volibear can't be there in time? And the answer is yes. They absolutely can play this wave in a way where Volibear can't be here in time. Now, obviously, right here, Mickey X is very high on HP, and he has a pretty healthy amount of mana. And then because they're flashless and whatnot, what we're assuming is Mickey would walk in front of the wave, Perks would come here, and then Hylissang and Reckless would get stuck in lane. So something went wrong 20 seconds ago, or like 15 seconds ago. Unfortunately, the camera doesn't pan to it. I'm going to try to see if I can see on the minimap what's going on. I think, like, them backing up that far is really bad, so, like, let's take a look at a freeze frame. So, like, right here, he goes for the Q. He shouldn't go for the Q. He should just go for the stab on the minions as they come in. And he should let these minions... Jhin should walk forward with Pyke, and they should stand as close to the turret as possible, trying to wave clear. But then Pyke backs up a lot. Jhin uses fourth shot on a minion to CS it, but I think he should just fourth shot the cannon and accept that he doesn't get the minion, because I think it's a lot more important to the push. And then I think if you do that and they had walked up and Mickey's not able to be here, but instead he's able to be back here because Jin's threatening stuff, then I think stuff is a lot better. I think that while Selfmade is over here at Gromp, depending on how Mickey's playing, maybe then you draw him in. But I think that we can see error in the laning phase that is devoid of Lee Sin, especially after they get their first blood kill. Right here, obviously, very unfortunate. They don't get the kill on Jankos. You can understand what Selfmade's trying to do. He's trying to trade the 1-for-1 there, but he doesn't end up getting it. Not the end of the world. Recalls now, and he has 12 CS, and now Jankos is ahead because of the 4 camps. So everything is fine in that regard. Selfmade's probably going to immediately path over to left side, get Wraiths into Scuttlecrab, but you can see LeBlanc is missing. This is a really nice song that's coming on right now. So you can see Selfmade's intentions are, I mean, they're pure. Like, he's there trying to do what he wants to do. There's definitely, again, there's a world where they do kill Jankos here and stuff is fine, but this is like one of those arguments where, like, if you ask the player, they would say that what they're doing is fine and they have to back up the wave, even though I think that we're able to show that the laners are able to do stuff on their own without the aid of the jungler, so there's that upside. You could then make the argument that, like, if you're waiting to trap the person, you can just get a kill. I think you could definitely you could go down that road, but right now Lee Sin's really far behind of Volibear. Corki is ahead in mid. Corki is actually very comfortable in mid. He just came in off of a TP. He has a Fairy Charm. He has a Cull. Yeah, Corki is very, very, very comfortable right now in mid lane. He's also quite ahead on EXP, actually. He has an entire wave. He's deep into level 5, and Caps is level 4 because of the roam that he tried to make. So Nemesis is actually winning lane really, really hard right now. They're backing him up, but I don't know why. He has Flash and he has Valkyrie. There's no kill by Caps that's able to really be there. Lee Sin could just be on his Wolves. I don't know what he's doing right now. Get to your Wolves. Thank you. So, okay. Jesus, his stats are terrible. Holy shit. Yeah, I don't know what Whippo's doing. He's trying to ult the wave, but you can't just ult the wave. Interestingly enough, Max has talked about this on stream sometimes, where he's been playing against, like, Gangplanks that don't understand. So if you're Wonder right now, you just take this minion wave and you walk it up to here, and then because you have Volibear going to the left-hand side jungle, Volibear can just come back to top lane, and then what? You're gonna pull your Lee Sin over? Keck W. Lee Sin. Yeah, this is really good. This is really, really, really good. Really good, really good, really good. So, because he's threatening a freeze, Whippo's under pressure to try to break it, and they have to pull in their Lee Sin. Great champion. And this is really good. So now Camille's going to get the bounce on the wave too, which now means that the wave's going to come back in. Jankos is getting the Rift Herald. I don't like the Rift Herald because he's so far ahead of Selfmade. So a lot of people don't know this about jungle. But when you hit level 9, you start getting accelerated XP gains on the respawn camps. So you want to hit 9 as fast as you can when your opponent is behind you. This is also why champions like Karthus and Eve, Nidalee, Shyvana, champions like that are very powerful at some points. Even Olaf, because his clear speed is better than Bully Bear and Sets. This is why champions like that are very good. So when Jankos identifies that he's so far ahead of Selfmade because he just contributed in a kill, he got the red buff, etc. Selfmade doesn't have like a lot going for him right now. So getting the Rift Herald is not super ideal because you don't want to utilize it's not as important as making sure that you clear and get all the respawns up on the camps in terms of like efficiency and just continuing to power farm ahead of Lee. Jankos also has the Cinder Hulk already, so his clears are getting much faster. Lee still doesn't have Warrior Enchant, 2.5 minutes now until the Ocean comes up. I also really hope that Camille just goes Trinity Force into Death Stance. That way she's able to threaten freezes in the later stages of the game. Selfmade's level 5 and Jankos is like 7.5, by the way, with more valuable camps up. I think Selfmade's going to find... Okay, he just stings 6, but he's very, very, very far behind. I mean, the champion's just so turbo useless. At this point. I'm going to keep railing Lee Sin, by the way. I'm going to keep flaming him, and I'm going to point out every fucking ridiculous thing that this champion needs to do in order to somehow be passable. Because, yeah, I have a vendetta against this champion. And, yeah, I mean, as it stands, like, so let's pause right now. What is the end goal for Fnatic right now? Increasingly, as the game goes on, Volibear continues to get better, Camille continues to get better, and Bwipo fell behind on Gangplank. And Bwipo fell behind on Gangplank because he mismanaged his wave in some way. We don't know because the camera pans aren't showing them to us. We have a Corki who was really beating LeBlanc in both EXP and CS, and then we had a Lee Sin that fell behind somewhat early, and then made also some very unfortunate pathing decisions, and Jankos is just continuing to basically get away for free. The bot lane kill didn't really convert into anything super meaningful, and so there's a problem going on there. Jhin down here in bot, trying to get one more plate. Ocean's up in 20 seconds. I like the Rift Herald spawn in mid lane. I've talked about this on a couple of the LCS games, as well as like LCK casts. Generally, I think that especially as League of Legends evolves as like a game in terms of strategy, I think that Rift Herald, if it continues to exist next year, I think it'll more and more only be used mid, as like taking the side tier 1 turrets begins to be seen as disadvantageous. So this is a really, really, really good capture onto the mid turret. Let's take a look at how Nemesis died here. Was he donking off? This is the question. So he's trying to move through mid through his red. Yeah, this is one of those unfortunate deaths. He could take a safer route, but the question would be, is can he get here for anything meaningful? The answer is no, so Nemesis should actually just recall. So he is donking off. You can understand why he's taking this route, but it doesn't make any sense, because the whole minion wave is gone and Bwipo's already here, so what is Nemesis really walking like this to do? Are they really thinking that they're just going to randomly pull these champions up down from bot lane without any teleport or play? Are they really thinking they're going to take a team fight against these G2 champions, even though they know that Camille has teleport and the LeBlanc must be somewhere in the shadows? The answer is no. So why is Nemesis randomly moving into mid? Because if he goes over to mid, now Bwipo has to run up into top lane, and that just doesn't make any sense, because there's no wave up in top lane. If you want to make the argument that Nemesis is going to move over into mid lane and then consume the Raptor camp, that doesn't make sense either, because you want to allocate the gold into Gangplank to the Raptor camp in terms of efficiency. If you're making the argument that Nemesis wants to move over to mid lane so that he can then move over to the Ocean Dragon, that doesn't make any sense either, because you would benefit more from just recalling and running down to the Ocean Dragon beforehand. So you try to sequence all of his lines through your head, like all of the different variations that he could take, and then you try to determine like what is the best and what is the most practical for success. So okay, Fnatic get 2 dragons. They roll really bad. Cloud Drake coming up next is super good for G2. And I mean, it's good for a lot of reasons. One is because LeBlanc with 4 Cloud Drake is pretty insane, but it buys them a lot of time. It gives them a lot of time to scale up. Cloud Dragon is super useless for basically all of Fnatic's champions. I think the only one that you can make an argument that it's somewhat beneficial for is like maybe Corki. Everything else is going to be super situational ultimates that don't really equate to anything meaningful. So 4 minutes on the Cloud Dragon is going to be coming up, so everyone's just going to have more and more time to scale. Bwipo's trying to get the remainder of the turret plates up here in top lane. Selfmade just continuing to farm on Lee Sin, but I mean, the champion's basically out of the game. He should probably go lethality in this game on Lee Sin, even though there's a Jhin, a Pyke, and a Gangplank. He's always just going to be single target, and I think that it just matters that he insta-pops one of the members on the side of G2, because that's their best chance to win. Wonder comes up here with Jankos. Hylissang is just going to die. Flash forward by Jankos, and yeah, I mean, just let's play this one more time. Let's play this one more time. So, you know. This is really good play, though, just by G2. Fnatic has no business, like, really being here, or, like, why they're actively looking for this stuff. They're just totally out of position. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But they're probably feeling like they want to look for things and get something done. I just have no idea. But they did this to themselves, because they set their draft up in a way where they are kind of, like, on a timer. They can win at 3+ items, like, on even footing. It's not impossible, but again, the slipperiness of LeBlanc, the utility that Camille has, the fact that they have no one to really hold down Camille, they have no one to hold down LeBlanc, the fact that Lee Sin has no kick targets, he has no easy approach, the fact that, like, Pyke is not getting ahead, Morgana has so much value as well, it's just very, very hard to play. So they're down 2,000 gold, but it feels a lot more than that. So let's take a look at this. Hylissang randomly in the middle. No barrels are set up or anything. Packaged by Nemesis. He ends up dying for no reason. Hylissang comes out. Jhin ultimate. At the Cloud Dragon. Why did that do no damage? Oh, wow, it only did the shield. Wow, it only did the shield. It did no damage. That's so weird. Let's take a look at this. I think he inted. So, you can tell what he's trying to do. He wants to do this into flash reposition and cut them off, but you don't need to do it like this. If you just back up a little bit, this does the same thing. This does the same thing because it makes them go all the way around. He's trying to also kill Caps, but he got hit by a binding as he went for the Valkyrie. But it still just doesn't make any sense. He's trying to be too greedy with the setup. They're getting the dragon. They end up getting a Pyke kill onto Camille, so the fight is still in their favor, but Jhin can't enter, and Cloud Dragon is actually working against Fnatic. I don't know why they dropped the Cloud Drake. Wait, let me see. Okay, so Jin's doing it. I mean, Lee Sin should probably just stay on the Cloud Dragon at that point. What is Lee doing here, by the way? Just watch Lee Sin. Just watch Lee Sin. Just watch Lee Sin. 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 What do you want him to do? 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 What? Whoa. Okay. Nice. Perfect. Nice. Is that more worth than just well, I don't think so. I'm not sure. Okay. And so now Fnatic on a full-on retreat. They have to just retreat. They're going to give up the Cloud Dragon. It's not the end of the world giving it up, but still it's a pretty good situation overall. Really nice distortion. Kill onto Lee Song as well, and now everyone on the side of Fnatic is just dead. We do see the null magic mantle. Is there a chance that we get Solari out of Jankos as well? This is stuff I've been harping on about for a couple of months now. Not as much, obviously, as Morello Leandri's or like Trinity Force versus Black Cleaver. But this is really good if we start seeing stuff like this. Redemption and Solari, second and third item on junglers or top laners, especially as a means to... Never mind. The reason that I talk about this is you ask yourself, what is the greatest chance Fnatic has to win a fight right now? Well, if they would take a team fight right now, when you factor in like base levels that G2 has over them, they have like 1 in 80 carry. They're actually down 1 in mid lane, but they have 2 inside of the jungle, and I think they have 1 as well in top lane. But what is the chance that they win this team fight while waiting for Miramana to complete and waiting for Black Cleaver and Essence Reaver and Jhin to almost complete his next item versus waiting for the next dragon, and then because LeBlanc went Oblivion Orb, her next item is going to be stunted a little bit, so she's going to end up selling this and getting Fiendish Codex, or she'll sell this and get Fiendish Codex, right? Volibear is probably just going to have a Spectre's Cowl, and then Camille will have Death Stance. So the question ends up becoming is Death Stance, Tiamat, Triforce versus Triforce Essence Reaver. Is this a better fight than this right now? And I would say yes. This is much better because of what it means to Gangplank. Is Black Cleaver versus Spectre's Cowl a much better completion? Yes. Okay, so 2 check marks on the side of Fnatic if they just wait 5 minutes. Is LeBlanc getting Fiendish Codex worth less than Corki completing Miramana, selling Call, and then getting another core component item? Yes, that is way better. Okay, so 3 check marks. Is Jhin getting to his third item or almost getting to it worth more than Caitlyn getting to Rapid Fire Cannon? No, that is the one downside. Caitlyn would be stronger at the next fight than she is now, but it's not by much. It's just mostly her utility. Does Pyke change that much compared to Morgana? Yes, Pyke actually does change more compared to Morgana. So there's like 4 check marks on the side of Fnatic, and the one is obviously an 80 carry, which is the one that they can play around with their other carries being enhanced and being bolstered. So they should have just given up that dragon, continued to freeze top lane. If they froze top lane for 2 to 3 waves, they would have actually netted themselves effectively a kill that they otherwise can't achieve down at the dragon. There's no reason to fight that dragon dragon, because even if they win the dragon, it doesn't mean that they're going to win the game. Baron is live, and LeBlanc doesn't have teleport. I almost think that maybe there's merit. Oh, it doesn't really matter. Lee Sin dies again, so does Pike. Yeah, Brippo played early mid transition really poorly, but he's been playing really well aside from that. I think Nemesis and Reckless have played by far the best this game. Nemesis made that Nemesis made this play poorly, and then he made this play poorly. Reckless is I think Reckless would be the MVP on Fnatic overall. I mean, there's not really much he can do, but yeah. I'm going to speed up a little bit. Okay, so we have a team fight. G2's trying to break into Fnatic again. Okay, LeBlanc and Camille getting a lot of access. They're just too far ahead. And, I mean, Fnatic's fighting 4v5, so that's kind of... Oh, okay, the game was actually over. All right, saved by the bell. I have to shower. I got to go soon. Really, really.